From family death, which is never fun, to ruthless shrine maiden, which is nothing new, and a special celebration. Can't go wrong with that, I think. Hello, Magi here, and welcome back to another episode of Top 5 Touhou Doujin Works, the series where I cover Doujin Works I or you guys have noticed throughout the week and had the need to tell you guys about it. So without further ado, let's begin the Top 5 Touhou Doujin Works number 54.
Number 5.
To start things off, we're going to be focusing on the Moria goddesses, Sane, Kanako, and Suwako. But honestly, the star of this happens to be the shortest of the three. Froggy's missionary journal, created by Hisame Genta, suggested by Jose, begins with Kanako and Sane leaving to the human village to gather faith. As Suwako is bloody bored alone at the shrine, she decided to do some missionary mission on her own. That eventually led her to the Misty Lake, where she subsequently handled two of the residents there, Rumia and Chiwuno. After finding her target, which was the SDM, Suwako decided to make her own path to the mansion. Patchouli and Rumelia realized that the situation was not normal. There, the goddess met her first obstacle, the gatekeeper Mei-ling. In a sense, she was doing her job as Suwako didn't enter the mansion. But normally, you're supposed to repel people, and clearly Sake was not up for Mei-ling's shit. Hell, it looks like Suwako even picked up a few tricks from Mei-ling, which really infuriated Rumelia with how her serpents were acting. It's then Suwako asked to create a branch shrine in the SDM, which is reasonable considering in canon, there's a branch shrine at the Hakurei place as well. I'm gonna leave it at there. I want you guys to see how the conversation between the god and devil plays out and to see if Suwako causes any more mischief.
Number 4.
For this next work, it's gonna involve the crew from Subterranean, and I must say things have taken a turn for the worse. Onei-chan has died, created by Kumamichi, suggested by Darth. Shit got serious. It begins lightly with Orin and Oku doing their jobs, when Koichi pops in, wanting to tell him something. It's there we see Satori in a casket. I can guarantee that is not something the pets wanted to see. Koichi gave a breakdown of what had happened. Satori suffered from overexhaustion and she hasn't opened her eyes. Not only that, Koichi would be taking care of Satori's job from now on. I don't know about you guys, but that doesn't sound positive. It's sad as none of the pets are able to bear the news, fearing that if Koichi fails her job, none of the pets will have anywhere to live. Orin was about to follow her master to death until Oku knocked some sense into her. The crow explained they shouldn't give up, so with those heartfelt words, the pets decided to hold a proper funeral. As they were about to send Satori off into the blazing fires, they noticed that somebody was missing from this. Perhaps the one with the most connection to Satori, Koichi. She eventually shows up, but her words surely confused the pets. I'll leave it at there. I want you guys to see how the pets are enduring with the loss of their precious master. As painful as it is, there's always a light at the end of the tunnel, or something like that.
Number 3.
This next work is going to be a little dicey as it's going to involve many groups in Gensokyo, for better or worse. Amano Zako, created by Zunus, suggested by Oni, is a story that focuses on Seija. In the beginning, we see that Seija is trapped by some huge rock blocking the path. It's there we learn that the human village was attacked, clearly breaking the non-aggression pact with the human villagers. A child was taken from the village, which is not a good sign. We also learned that there's many descendants of yokai exterminators, which are now trying to capture Seija. In the story, we found out that Kozuzu was the one kidnapped. Just to know how many people have been focused on this issue: the Morias, the Buddhists, the Taoists, and the Tengus. Reimu comes to the village to check on how things have been. She enters Suzunan and meets with Kozuzu. The bookkeeper greets Reimu until she's whacked by the purification rod, revealing that it was actually Mamizo. Mamizo explained she transformed into her so that the villagers wouldn't be freaking out on who was kidnapped. With the parties I just previously mentioned taking interest in the situation, Seija is not going to get out of this so easily. There's much more to this incident than meets the eye, as a lot of the lore is being thrown into the story, which can be confusing on a first read. I'm going to leave it at there as I want you guys to see how it's even possible for Seija to get out of this predicament without some major consequences.
Number 2.
For this next work, we're going to turn it to Reimu and show you what the shrine maiden can be like when she's a little feisty. Ruthless Purification Rod, created by Taco. This takes place during the events of DDC, where her purification rod had a mind of its own. It was bad at first until she learned that the rod was able to beat up yokais for her, simulating the effects of its homing properties in the game. Worried that people would assume Reimu's slacking, she decided to dress up her rod. I mean, if it works, it works. Oh well, it does allow Reimu to go to sleep, so that's a positive. With the incident, many of our items were being affected. The rod and yin yang orb made sense. The money-hungry donation box, on the other hand, I must admit, sounds like the scariest shit yet from Touhou. After that Reimu field course, we then start having stories involving the other members of DDC. This part involving Seija and Shimimaru. Seija wants the oppressed to rebel, but Shimimaru is questioning the best way to handle it. Seija explains to increase the resistance headcount, which makes sense. How the Inchling approaches the issue, on the other hand, is not one normally handles it. Getting more heads is not going to help the issue, nor will shadow cloning yourself do the trick. Although to be fair, I'm good with the shadow clone approach. I'll leave it at there as I want you guys to see more of the DDC cast doing some random funny shit. And people love random stuff.
Number 1.
For this last work, we're going to be focusing on another shrine maiden, Sanae. From an artist I'm sure you're most familiar at this point. Hair No High, A Fine Day, created by Azuma Aya, suggested by Darth. Azuma is the artist behind the Wild series involving Kaizen, so I'm expecting good things. This work did not disappoint. In this one, we learned that it's Sanae's 20th birthday. Sanae was reminiscing a bit of the outside world of how she severed her ties there and became a living god. Sanae didn't think anyone would remember her birthday, but Suwako and Kaneko, the wonderful guardians they were, surely remembered it. The gods mentioned that since Ginsoku doesn't have a coming of age ceremony like the outside world did, the celebration will mostly be a banquet. Kaneko mentioned something I wasn't expecting. They were holding onto something that was given to them by Sanae's mother. Sanae thinks back to her mother, but she isn't able to get much memory out of her noggin. She's asked Kaneko in the past, but the goddess always dodged the question. She does note that there seems to be a haze in her memory surrounding everyone she used to know from the outside world. Suwako and Kaneko talk with each other and their conversation doesn't seem pleasant from the sound of it. Worrying for Sanae, as Sanae enters a room, she sees a dress. Kaneko explains that it was entrusted to them by Sanae's mom. As she touches the dress, she begins to get a vision from the past. I'm gonna leave it at there. All I can say, without spoiling anything, is that the story did a 180 on me, one I wasn't prepared for. But yeah, that's gonna be it for this episode. Which Doujin Works are you gonna check out later? Do you wanna see how the pets handled Satori's death? Do you wanna see how Seija fucked herself over in Ginsoku? Or do you wanna see how Sanae was like in the past? If you guys enjoyed the video, please give it a like and subscribe, or else Reimu's Raw will beat the shit out of you. And trust me, that looks painful. Either way, this is Magi, and thanks again for watching.